Hello everyone and welcome to Photoshop. So today we are going to be talking about the Photoshop interface and how to use Photoshop. So first of all, when you open Photoshop, you will be brought to this place, which is the welcome to Photoshop. But for you guys that have not worked with Photoshop and you're opening Photoshop for the first time, you will not find anything on your Photoshop when you open it. So, but if you have been designing, you're going to find your recent files here on Photoshop. If eventually you start designing, when you open your Photoshop, you will start seeing all your recent works here. So, after opening your Photoshop, there are two ways that you can either open a file, you can either click it to open a previous file, or you can create new to create a new canvas. So this is what you do. You click on create new and it is going to bring you to this interface. Now, there are recent, which is uh, the recent ones that you've used, and there is saved. If you save anyone, you're going to find it here. If you save any document setting, you are going to find it here. Then we have the photo, the print, the art. You don't need all of this. What you can use some of the time is print. You can come, if you are doing a design that will be printed, you can come here. If it's a poster, you can click on A4. If it's a flyer design, you can click on A5 or whatever size that you want to do. So when you open this place, the next thing for you to do is to click here and rename your work. So we can name it new work. Then after renaming your work, this is where you put the size, the height and the width of your design. So you can either work with pixels, inches, centimeters, millimeters, points and picas, anyone that you want to work with. But mostly you'll be working with pixels, inches and these centimeters or millimeters. So for social media design, we are going to use 1080 by 1080, which is the Instagram size, and it is in pixels. And then we leave our resolution at 300. Now, because we are doing a design that is for the web that we are posting online, we leave it at RGB color mode. This RGB stands for red, green, and blue. But if you are not designing for the web, you want to design something that you will print, you change the color mode to CMYK, and CMYK stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. Note, if you are designing for print, leave the color mode at CMYK. But if you are not designing for print, you are designing to post online, leave the color mode at RGB. So we're going to leave it at RGB because we are not designing for print. Leave everything as it is. Then this is orientation. If you click, this is a portrait and this is a landscape. So whichever one that you want to work with, you can click on it. But we want to work on portrait orientation, so we leave it at portrait and then you click on create and it is going to create a new file for you. It's going to create a blank canvas for you. This white thing is called a canvas. So now we are here in Photoshop. I'm not going to be explaining every of the tools because it is going to take all of our time, and it is not all the tools that you need. I'm going to give you the basic ones that you are going to be working with. So let's get into it. This first panel you're seeing here, this is called the menu bar. This place you see the file, the edit, the image, it is known as the menu bar. The one beneath it is known as the options bar. It is called the options bar because whatever you click in your tools bar, it will change. The options bar will change to show the options for that particular tool. I'm going to explain it better later. This is called our title bar. This is where the name of your document is listed. This is known as the title bar. We call this our tools bar. This is where you will find all the tools that you will use for your design in this place. We call this the status bar. This shows the status of the work you are currently working on. You can check the document dimension, and you can see the document dimension we are working with, 1080 by 1080 pixels with 300 resolution. You can change your document profile. You can check your document size. These are the things that you can find in your status bar. While everything you find here is called the panel. This is our panel bar. We are going to get to it in a moment. So, in our tools bar, the first tool you are going to find in your toolbar is the move tool. Why is it called the move tool? It's called the move tool because it helps you to move anything you place on your screen around, right? So whenever in your tools bar you find an arrow beside it, it simply means that there are other tools under it. So if you click and hold, it will bring out the other tools. Here we have the move tool and the artboard tool. So for the next one, we have the rectangular marquee tool. I am going to demonstrate how it is used for you. So let us open an image. Now, to open an image in Photoshop, you go to File and click on Open. Then you can click on whatever image that you want to open. So we're going to select our image. Now let's select this. Once you double click on the image, it will open on a different file. But if you don't want it to open on a different bar, you want it to open inside of your work, this is what you can do. You go to File, Place Embedded, and then you double click on the image that you want to bring in, and it will come into the workspace you are currently working on. Hope it is clear. Then the next thing is, I talked about this rectangular marquee tool. So if you long click on the rectangular marquee tool, it will open the other options under it. You either long click or you right click on it, and it will open up the other things that are beneath it. So this rectangular marquee tool, once you draw it on your work file, once you draw it on your image, you can select your move tool and you can use it to cut out a part. Let's say we want to cut this place. Once you draw it, you can click on Ctrl J and it will cut out that part. This is what I mean. It has cut out only that part, but we don't really need this. So this is another polygonal lasso tool. This polygonal lasso tool, it is used to select an image. So when you right click on that tool, you are going to find other tools: polygonal lasso tool, magnetic lasso tool. They basically do the same thing. Like this polygonal lasso tool, if you want to use it to select an image, all you have to do is come to the edge start from the edge of the picture, you click. Once you click, it will stick to that path. So all you need to do is to click on the edges, click. Let's just stop here. And once you see, when you want to close your selection, you are going to find this circle on the polygonal lasso. So once you find it there, you click and it will close off your selection. This is how you use the polygonal lasso this is how you use it to select. Okay, once you are done with the selection and you want to remove this selection, you don't want it there, you click Ctrl D. It is the shortcut for deselect. Ctrl D and it will deselect. So the next one, we have the quick selection tool and the magic wand tool. Now, one thing about these tools is that you can use this quick selection tool to select the outside of your image that you want to remove, the background of the image that you want to remove. So it is simple. You just click and drag and it will select, and it is easier because it is one color. Once you click and drag, it will select. You can also use it to select inside of the image. You can use it to select the lady. Once you click, it will select. Once you click, it will select, right? So there is something I want you to note. Once you are selecting and what you are selecting mistakenly enter the image, and you don't want it to enter the image. You want to remove this part because what you're selecting is only the background. This is what you can do. You can hold on your Alt key on your keyboard, Options on Mac if you're using MacBook, Alt, then Command if you're using MacBook. So you hold down your Alt key and then you hold your mouse. You hold down your left mouse and you deselect. You remove that extra part that is added that you don't need. Okay? You deselect that part. It's as easy as that. So we have the Magic Wand tool. Now, what this Magic Wand tool does is, once you click it, if the background you are selecting has only one color and you click, it will select that background because it has only one color. Now, if you notice that, okay, this place has been selected, but this place didn't select, this place did select, this is what you can do. You hold down your Shift key. Your Shift key adds. If you hold down the Alt key, it subtracts from your selection. So you hold down your Shift key and you click and it will select. You hold down your Shift key and you click and it will select everything. Okay? Beautiful. Now let's give another instance. Let's open up another image and try to select so that you see the difference. Now, this image now, if you try to select it with the Magic Wand tool, it will be difficult for you. Why? Because there is more than one color on the background. So if you click, this is what you will notice. Do you notice that it's not selecting everything because it is confused? It doesn't know where to select and where not to select. But here, it is easier for it to select because the background has only one color. Another way that you can select is, once you click on your Magic Wand tool or your Quick Selection tool, you can just come to the options bar and click Select Subject. This helps you to automatically create a selection on the subject. So if you click on Create, okay, if you click on Select Subject, it will select the object on its own. Sometimes it does a great job, sometimes it doesn't do a great job. When it does not do a great job, it is left for you to go to your tool, take your Quick Selection tool. If you want to add, if you want to subtract, you hold down your Alt key and subtract. If you want to add, you can hold your Shift key and add more. I hope it is clear. Now we can remove our background. To do that, okay, let's finish with our tools bar. So the next on the line, we have this crop tool. You might not really need it, but if you want to crop out some part of your canvas, you can just click and crop. Once you crop, you click on this check bar here on the options bar to commit the current crop. So you click on it and it will commit, and we have cropped it, but we don't want to crop. Okay, so to undo this thing that we have done, we don't want to crop our image. To undo it, simply click Ctrl Z and it will go back to the old state. And when you are done using any tool, make sure you go back and click the Move tool. If you don't click the Move tool, if you try to move around, this is what you'll find. You end up distorting your work, which is not nice. So whenever you pick a tool that is not the Move tool, ensure that you go back and you click the Move tool. Okay, the next thing, we have the brush tool. You can click on the brush, you can collapse the bar. We have the brush tool, pencil tool, but you might not be needing this mixed brush and other tools because it is used mainly by retouchers. So to use your brush tool, once you click on your brush tool, you can come here, add a new layer, and then you can brush and draw anything you want on your subject. Okay, but we don't want to use that now. Then the next thing, we have this gradient tool. Now this gradient, you can use it to add gradients in your work, but as you can see, you cannot add gradients without adding a new layer. That is why it is showing this null. So to create a gradient, you can click and add a new layer. Now you can see that the it has changed, the tool has changed. Now what you can do is to drag and draw in your gradient, but we don't want to draw our gradient, but I hope you get the gist. Now for the next one that you're going to need, we have the quick selection tool. Now there are so many. If you collapse the two, you're going to find a lot of them under the quick selection, under the pen tool. I mean the pen tool, not quick selection tool, the pen tool. So once you click on your pen tool, you notice that your options will change. Now you can use this pen tool to draw a custom shape that you don't have in your shapes. So we have drawn, you can use it to create a custom shape. Now once you start, you can come here and come to the options bar, remove stroke, and add the feel of the tool that you want, and then you can add your custom shape. That is the use of this pen tool. Also in Photoshop, you can use the pen tool to select and remove the background of an image. But one thing with this pen tool is that it is really tricky to master. As a beginner, it will be hard for you, but I recommend that you watch videos on how to use the pen tool, or if you're going to go for an advanced class, you can learn how to use all these tools. The next one, we have the text tool. Shortcut for the text tool is the T. So when you click on the text tool, you will notice that your options bar has changed. In this options bar, you can change your font, you can change the weight of the font, you can change the size of the font, and you can also change the alignment to either be left, centered, or right alignment. So once you click on your text tool, you can just click on your screen and type whatever you want to type. Also, you can draw a text box. If you have a larger chunk of text to type in, you can draw a text box and type in all your text. Under the text tool, we have others like the vertical type tool, the vertical type mask tool, but you will not always need this. What you need mostly is this horizontal type tool. Now we have our shape tool. This shape tool, this is where you get all the shapes you need for your design: your rectangle, your rounded rectangle, your ellipse tool, and your polygonal tool, and even your line tool. If there are shapes you want that is not here, you can click here and go to custom shape, and you'll find every other shape that you need in this box. Okay, now this is the hand tool. This tool, you can use it to move your screen. Once you click on it, you can use it to move your canvas around. If you notice, there is a rectangle, there is an arrow, meaning that there are other tools beneath it. Then we have the zoom tool. Once there is no arrow beside the tool, that means the tool is standing alone. So there is no arrow beside this tool, meaning that it is standing alone. Now, if there are other tools that you want and you don't find them on your tools bar, the three dots that you have here, right click on it and click on edit toolbar. You can simply drag and drop it in the group that you want it to be. Now we have this, our background and foreground color. So this place is called the foreground color, and this place is called the background color. To toggle between these two, you can click here and it will change, or you can click on your X on your keyboard. You can click on X on your keyboard and it will toggle between the foreground and the background color. Then after that, we have our panels. Now, if you open your Photoshop will not necessarily be like my own. Now, if you make mistake, like you just drag something out or you distorted anything on your workspace, you can go to Windows, Workspace, and you can click on Reset Essentials, and it will reset your workspace. You can also leave your workspace at Essentials, which is the default. Okay, for those that are doing painting and post photography, they can choose to change it, but for you, you can just leave it on Essentials, which is the default. Now you can also, like, let's say you have your workspace and you like how it is, you can as well go to your Windows, go to Workspace and click on New Workspace. If you click on New Workspace, it will say you can save this workspace, click on save, and whenever you need the workspace, you can go to Windows and click on that particular workspace. Okay, so like this is how my own panels bar is, because this is how I want it to be. Now in this panel bar, we have our layers, we have our channels, and we have our path. Now these layers, the way layers work is that it works like you are stacking a book, right? So when you place a book and you place another one on top and you place another one on top, you notice that the first book that you placed is under, right? Now let me show you what I mean. If you click on your tools bar and you draw this rectangle, yeah, you notice that this rectangle is covering the image because it is stacking. It's like the more you place, the more it is going on top. If we draw another rectangle, you will notice that it has sat on top of the previous rectangle. It has been stacked on it, right? So anytime maybe you are designing and you are looking for, let's say you did this and you are now looking for your image, like where is my image? Notice that your image, you can find your image in your layer panel and you can drag it to sit at the top. Okay, now if you notice, I am selecting this image and I can easily select. This is because of the options I clicked on my options bar. Now if you try to click on another thing that is not this image, you will notice that it is not clicking, right? If you try to click, you are still clicking on this lady. Why? Because our auto select is not on. As a beginner, you might choose to leave your auto select on so that you don't click on things by mistake. So if you want to click on the rectangle beneath, you can go to your layer bar, click on the rectangle, and then you can move the rectangle around. You can also click on the rectangle to move it around. Now, if you notice, these things, they are not showing the transformation. Like you can't see the transform control. Why? Because we did not click on show transform controls, but if you click on it, you will notice that you can find your transform controls. But if it is not clicked, what you can do is click Control T and you can transform or do whatever you want to do with your subject. So you can choose to leave it on. Me, I personally, I love to keep my show control on so that I can see what I click on. And I also love to keep my auto select on so that I can just select. But you as a beginner, you can choose to keep it off so that you don't select things by mistake and scatter your work, right? So let's say we placed this rectangle and we want to change the color of this rectangle. What you can simply do is double click on this rectangle that you are seeing here, this bar that you're seeing here, double click on it and you can change your color to whatever you want. And you can also sample color. How can you do that? By dragging out your move tool and clicking on any subject or on any background that you want to sample the color. So you can sample colors from pictures, and you can sample colors from anything else that you want. Now in this bar, I've explained the layer bar for you. Now we have, if you want to delete this, the first thing here, we have the delete. So if you want to delete something, you can click on that thing, click on that layer and click on delete, and it will delete that rectangle for you. You can also drag and drop the rectangle in the trash bin, which is the delete, and it will delete. I hope I'm communicating. Now, the next one we have is this. This is called to create a new layer. So you can click here and create a new layer. And the importance of this new layer is when you click on it, you can do things like use your brush tool and painting, right? Or you can also add gradient using this new layer. If after everything and you don't like what you did, you can just simply click on delete and delete the layer, or you can just click on backspace on your keyboard. Okay, for the next one we have the group. Now let's say that you've designed a lot of things and you want to group it together. You can click on the first and then hold down your shift key, click on the last thing that you want to group, and then click on group and it will group all those things. The shortcut is simply Ctrl G, or if you click Ctrl G on your keyboard, it will group those things for you. The next one that we have is the new adjustment layer. Now, the way this new adjustment layer works is that you can click on it and you can add whatsoever adjustment layer you want. You can add a solid color, and this solid color can be your background color. You can add a gradient to your work. Come here, choose the kind of gradient you want, click on OK and OK, right? You can also click on pattern. If you want to add pattern, click it, choose whatever pattern that you want to add, and then you click on OK and it will add. So this adjustment bar, there are so many things under it. We have the brightness, the levels, the curves, the exposure. These are separate topics on their own and you can choose to explore. You can also watch tutorials that take each of these adjustments, but there are so much that there are tutorials that cover just each of them. There are tutorials that cover vibrance, how to use hue and saturation in your work, how to use color balance, and the black and white is not. I can just click on it and it will add a black and white in your work, right? This is the black and white. If you click on this visibility layer, this is called the visibility layer. So you can click to on your visibility and you can click to switch off your visibility. So this is all about this adjustment bar. Then we have what we call mask. Let's talk about masking. So let's say that we want to remove the background of this our picture. Just like I've told you, you click on your quick selection tool and you click on select subject, and it is going to select our object for us. Now we want to discard the background of this image, right? So what you can do is come to this add layer mask and you click on add layer mask, and you will notice something. It will remove the picture the background. Well, now assuming that we no longer want to remove the background, what you can do is you can click on the layer mask, drag it and place it in the trash can, and it will restore back your background, right? So let's go back. Let's say we want to remove it. Now, note something. You have to note something on your foreground and your background color. Simply put, black hides, white reveals. So because the foreground color is black, it's like the part that has removed is showing black in our masking, and the white part is showing the part that is still visible, the part that we can see. Now, if our foreground color is black and we want to restore, let's say we want to restore this part of the background, you can simply click B on your tools bar on your keyboard, use the right bracket key to increase your brush, and then you paint. And then let's say that your foreground color is black and you paint. You will notice that you will hide the part that has not been hidden. But let's assume that our foreground color is white. Once you paint in, you will restore the part of the background that you removed. In that sense, that is what this foreground color, simply the white color, reveals. The white color reveals what has been hidden, but the black color hides, right? So note that what you are doing is based on the foreground color and not the background color. Everything that you are changing is based on the foreground color. So if you toggle between the button and white is the foreground color, it means reveal. It will reveal whatever you hid. If black is the foreground color, it will hide everything that you have revealed. I hope that makes sense. For it to be easy for you, black hides, white reveals. So you will notice something when you click on your brush tool, the options bar changes. In this options bar, you can change the size of your brush. You can change the rotation of your brush. You can change the type of brush size of your brush and the rotation of the brush, and you can even pick any brush of your choice. Yeah, here we have the opacity. You can decrease the opacity of your brush, and when you draw it, it will be lighter. You can also decrease the flow of your brush, and when you decrease it, you will notice that it looks faint. Yeah, so that is all about this brush too. Then we have our blending mode. Okay, now this is what our blending mode does. We are going to do this blending modes much when we start our design, but note this: there are different types of blending modes, right? So we have darken, we have multiply, we have color burn, and it changes according to the one that you click on. So we are going to be making use of these blending options, blend modes, during our design, and you get to understand how it works better. We also have opacity and we have our fill. Let's say that this person, we want to reduce her opacity, we want her to be faint. You can click here and reduce the opacity of this lady. Once you reduce the opacity, it will reduce. Once you increase it, it will also increase her opacity. Now, another thing that you will notice is when you click on any tool and you drag and you draw it, the property bar will bring out all the properties concerning that tool. You can change the color of the property from here. You can as well change the width and height of that property that you have picked. You can change the property, you can change the rectangle, remove the fill and add stroke. Yeah, you can also add gradient from here. You can as well add gradient to the rectangle from here, and you can add the colors that you want and adjust. Okay, this is what the property bar does. And then you can as well adjust the corner radius of your rectangle or your shapes from here, from this property bar. If you can't find this property bar, you go to your windows and you can find your property bar. Once you click on it, it will show this mark by the side. If there are other things that you want on your panel and you can't find it on this panel, kindly go to your windows and you'll find all of them here. Also, we have our ruler bar. Our ruler bar helps us to add guide to our design. So you can see our ruler bar because I enabled it. So to review and to open, like to make your ruler bar to come out in your workspace, you can go to view and you can click on rulers and it will reveal these rulers. The shortcut is Ctrl R. So you can use Ctrl R to review your ruler and to remove it. I hope it's clear. Ctrl R to review, Ctrl R to close it. Now, once you have your objects and everything, we have what we call our alignments, right? So let's say we want these two things to be placed on each other. Let's close these things. So let's say we have this circle, right? And we want to align our circle. We want to align these things. We want everything to be on a straight line. So you can drag and highlight everything, and then you come to this, your alignment panel, you click on center alignment and everything will align. Now let's say we don't want it to align at the center, we want it to align by the left. You click on the left. Let's scatter it. Let's highlight it again, and then we click left and everything will align to the left. Now let's say we want everything, okay, we want it to be stacked on a straight line. So let's highlight it and let's click on this vertical center and everything will align vertically, right? Okay, so another thing is, if you want to give it an evenly spacing, let's say we want to give it an evenly spacing, you can click here which says distribute horizontally. Once you click, you will notice that everything has distributed horizontally, right? If you want everything to distribute horizontally. You highlight everything that you want. If you don't find any of the alignments that you don't find, you can click on this place, these three dots that you're seeing, and it will open more. This distributes spacing. These are different spacing that we have. So you can click here. This means to distribute top edges. This is to distribute vertical edges. This is to distribute bottom edges. This is to distribute left edges. So these are the different things that it does, right? So these are the different alignments that we have. So let's say that let's say you have been designing, and these are you have a rectangle, not just a rectangle. It can be an image, it can be a shape, it can be anything, and you want to duplicate it. You want to have like more than one of it. There are different ways that you can do it. You can click on this and click on Ctrl J. Once you click on Ctrl J, it will duplicate. That is the shortcut. If you don't want to click on Ctrl J, you can click on the rectangle, drag it to the new layer, and it will duplicate it, right? Either you click Ctrl J on your keyboard, or you drag it to a new layer. Like let's say this lady, you drag her to the new layer and it will create a duplicate of it. Another shortcut you can use is hold down Alt on your keyboard. Once you hold down Alt, you notice that your move tool has divided into two. So once you drag, it will duplicate. That is how to duplicate. If you do something and you want to restore it, you click Ctrl Z. These are the basic shortcuts that you need to know in Photoshop. So I believe, okay, if you want to, let's say you want to add drop shadow to this, you want to add glow to this rectangle. What you can do is click on that particular rectangle, come to the side, right click, and then go to blending options. Once you click on your blending options, it will bring out this layer styles for you. In this layer styles, you can add stroke. From here, you can adjust the size of the stroke. You can add inner shadow to your rectangle. You can change the color of the inner shadow and adjust the inner shadow, the opacity of the shadow, the distance, and the size of the inner shadow that you want to add. So if you're not seeing it, you might want to change your blend modes to normal. Once you change it, you will not be able to see the inner shadow that you've added. You can also add inner glow. You can add drop shadow. Now to add drop shadow, you can simply click here. Let's say we want to use this color of drop shadow, and then you can change the distance of your drop shadow, how you want your drop shadow to spread, and the size of your drop shadow. You can also add gradient to this shape from here. Once you click on your gradient, you can come here and then choose the type of gradient. If there is no type of gradient that you want, you can click here, go to your color, add the gradient you want, the color you want, click OK. Also click on this color stop, click inside your color, change the color you want, and click OK. And then you can commit by saying OK, and then you can reverse the gradient, and you can also change the angle of the gradient, and you can also change the scale, how you want it to be. Also, you can leave it as radial, you can change it to linear, you can change your gradient to angle, you can change it to reflected, but these are not, you will not always find people using this reflected, diamond, and angle. What people usually use is radial or linear, right? So this is your layer style, and this is how you can add your layer style. So let's say that you have this lady now. Let's say that you have this lady and you want to clip her into this rectangle. You want to clip this lady into this rectangle. This is what you can do. make sure that the lady is directly on top of the layer you want to clip it to. Once you have placed it directly on top of that layer, what you can do is come to this side on the layer of the lady, not on the rectangle, on the layer of the lady. Come to the side, right click, click on create clipping mask, and she will be clipped into that rectangle. This is also how you can clip different things in Photoshop. So this is all about Photoshop for beginners. In as much as we didn't cover everything, but these are the things that you need to start out your journey in design, in using Photoshop as a design tool. Even as you start designing, you are going to continue to master it and learn other things that you need as a beginner. I hope this doesn't confuse you. You can watch it more and more until you understand and you assimilate everything. If you have any questions, you can drop it in the comment section. Sorry, not in the comment section. You can also drop it in the comment section. I will answer you. You can also drop it in the group chat once the group chat is open. Now, if you are done with a design and you want to save it, what you can do is you go to file, you go to save as. Once you click on save as, you can save as a Photoshop file. You leave it as a Photoshop file and you click on save, and it will save your work. Now, as you continue working, if you want to keep on committing that same design, what you can click on is Control S. That's the shortcut, and it will keep on updating your design. Now, if you want to save this as an image, you can go to file, you can go to save as, and you can click on this, you can click in this place and save as a JPEG, right? Once you save it, it is going to save as an image. Now, if you don't want to save it like this, you can go to file, go to export, go to export as. If you want to export for the web, right? This is usually for the web. You can change the format to JPEG. You can leave the quality at 100%. This is the width and size of the design, so you can leave the width and height of the canvas, and make sure you click embed color profile and convert to RGB, and then export all, and it will export everything for you. So this is all we have for today. Now I want to recount something. When you click on auto select, make sure that this is on layer and not on group. Make sure that you leave it on layer, so that when you auto select something, it will only touch that layer and not groups. Okay, so that is all for today. You have a wonderful day. Bye bye.